friends before you went out with Dad that were like boyfriend?
Of course I did.
Oh, shit.
I was going to say, if you said no, I was going to say, well, Grandma's nose is growing.
Had you been engaged?
Yeah, once, just once.
And what happened?
I decided you're too short for me. I didn't like little guys shorter than me. I wanted at least as tall as me or taller. My mother is taller than my dad, and that always bothered me when I was a kid growing up. Because I thought at least they should be the same size, or he should always be taller.
Well, especially if you're wearing heels, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, even when I wasn't in heels. He was just 5'3", and I'm 5'3", and he was stocking feet. And I liked the guy, but you were too short.
Is that what you told him?
Mm-hmm.
You told him you're too short?
Mm-hmm.
How long had you known him before you got engaged?
Not very long.
Huh.
No, not very long.
How old were you when this happened?
Well, I got married when I was 21, so that must have been maybe 19.
Was that out here in South Dakota?
Yeah, it was out here in California. One of the guys I worked with in this shipyard, Frank Mamini, M-I-N-N-I-E. He was a nice Italian guy.
So you went from a good Italian boy to a good Irish boy.
Yeah. His name, you don't want to be called Frank, you call me Fosco. So I didn't call him Fosco, I called him Frank. But he was quite the kisser. Of all the guys I met, he was about the best kisser I've ever.
There's some things you always remember.
Yeah.
91, she's remembering the
He's the
kisser.
greatest kisser, honest to God.
Now there's that picture of you where you're all elegant and you've got this big opal or that black onyx ring. Was that wasn't when you were with Dad, right? That was when you were still single?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that Frank was in that picture that someone cut out?
No.
Oh.
That was another guy took me to the dance at the Bell Tavern. It used to be the Dell Tavern in North Beach. That was fun. When I went to South Dakota after my trips to working out here and living the San Francisco life, I met the guy. He had a jacket on in downtown in Brookings, and he said, I'll take you to the show Saturday night. Okay. He came to the door. It was on a Saturday night. I opened the door. Here I'm dressed up, San Francisco style.
Got your heels and your pretty dress.
Yeah. And he's standing at the door in his bib overalls. And I'm talking bib overalls with the suspenders that you clip here. And I looked at him and said, I'm not going out the way you look. And I slammed the door in his face. My mother thought that was so funny.
She thought it was funny. She wasn't appalled?
He wore bib overalls to take me out. I guess it was Saturday night, and the farmers would dress up in clean bib overalls. That was how you dressed. You saw a lot of guys, didn't you, in bib overalls back there?
No, Helen, you got me by a ways. But no, it was common. Farmers all wearing bib overalls when I was young.
Overalls on Sunday.
Yeah,
when I was young, I mean, it changed as I got older. But when I was young, that was kind of like standard.
Now, if he would have had a nice jacket on or something to cover up the bib overall, but all I could see was those damn suspenders, and me going out with you, and here I'm dressed up.
Now, tell me
we were only going to the show.
You bought a fur coat, didn't you, or fur stole?
Yeah. Russian fur. Russian, what do I call it? Russian...
Sable?
Russian tail fur coats. Dottie and Betty were the first to get them, and they were beautiful. Oh my God!
Is this after you were working in the shipyard making money?
All four of us were still there. You're making this money, but not that much. And they went to this place called Toby's Fur Shop on Market Street, and it's $25 down, $25 a month, and they give you 2 years to pay for it. And I thought, oh my God, $25. That was a lot of money. So they kept saying, Helen, you need to buy one. So then I went down and bought one too. And it was the most beautiful thing I thought I ever had in my life. Because it was knee length. And I even go to bed at night and pull it up over me like a coverlet. My Russian tail.
And did you bring that back to South Dakota when you went?
I gave it to Elsie. I wore it maybe like 5 years. I used it. And then I felt so sorry for my sister Elsie I gave it to her. I shipped it to her because her husband had leukemia and he was dying, and then he did die, and I thought, oh my God, poor woman, she's got nothing. And when I wore it back there, they thought, oh my God, that's something. Then she wore it for 5 years, she said. You've never heard of Russian?
Well, because then it's warm. It was good in the snow.
Yeah, she wore it back there in the warm.
Yeah.
But I would take it down to H. Liebes's. I know it's not anymore in San Francisco. H. Liebes. Every summer, they'd keep it for a month, and they'd store it. They'd clean it. And I understand they put it in a drum with sawdust, and they twirl it. And that's what cleans it and preserved it. But it was a beautiful light brown fur, medium brown fur. Oh, I thought it was a hot tomato. Because we would take, going out from where I go down on Stillings, we'd catch a streetcar, and you had on your fur coat, and you had on your long sleeve white gloves. And I thought, my God, I'm really a city girl. And you look at other people in disgust when they didn't have them.
And you would still wear those white knee-high boots?
No, I didn't wear those boots.
Just say,
No, she wore heels.
You're blowing my mind. I'm trying to envision it. Yeah.
Shipyard days were over. I didn't wear those white boots anymore.
But you were waitressing, and you worked on Leidesdorf Alley.
The what?
Leidesdorf Alley.
Oh, down the financial district. I loved working. I was married. Down in the bar. It's a nice bar. You should know where the stock exchange is.
Mm-hmm.
That is Leidesdorf. That runs into Pine Street. Sacramento, I think, is on the other side. Mm-hmm. And there's a nice bar in the middle and a drugstore. And then Nikki Arness owned the little restaurant on the corner. And she became a good friend of mine. And Tom and I go to her house and back and forth. And then anyhow, she just died all of a sudden. The brain, something happened to her.
An aneurysm problem.
So but the guys from the stock exchange would come in every night. And didn't serve any food there except cheese and crackers. And the attorneys that would come in there, and the guys from the stock exchange, and the guy that I really, really liked, and him and his wife were both killed on a Saturday night in a car accident. They were in the right-of-way on Kearney, and another car came down the hill from somewhere and killed them both.
Jim McGinnis.
Jim McGinnis. I was going to ask you what it is. Did you ever hear the name?
Mm-hmm.
Very famous attorney in San Francisco.
Before my time, but yeah, he was a very famous attorney.
And a good-looking guy. He'd wear this derby hat, and sometimes he'd carry a cane. His wife would come to pick him up a lot of times because she knew where Jim was. And they had a carload of kids in a big convertible. She'd park in the alley and come in and get him.
Because he'd be tipsy.
Huh?
He'd be tipsy.
Oh, yeah, tipped me very well.
No, I'm talking he was tipsy.
He was drunk.
Oh, she wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
he came home and didn't have more than one or two.
Yeah.
But then the other big shot attorney, I was driving a red convertible at that time. She'd mentioned Leidesdorf Alley.
Wow.
And Tom didn't want to buy a car, and I said, I want that car. And I think it was only $5,000 because it was resale. Anyhow, this one guy, a big heavy-set Jim something, he would come in and get so plastered, he'd sit there and wet his pants. But like the other guy said, that he's such a good guy, such a good attorney, and he lived at the St. Francis Hotel. So I think at least three times I would drive him home. The bartender, the owner, would help him get in my car, otherwise he'd take a cab, drive up in front of the St. Francis Hotel, and then the bellhop would come and take him in the hotel room. Mm-hmm. I can't think of
That wasn't Bronson, was it?
No, but I knew Bronson too. I think that was the name of the company.
Bronson and McKinnon.
Yeah, that was the company that these two guys worked for.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy named Don something, but Don and I have a couple of drinks, and he was always telling me about his travels, taking depositions, and I didn't know what the hell a deposition was. So he was explaining law to me a lot. But this big fat guy Bronson and Bronson, are they still in business?
I don't know.
Were they the ones who gave us were they the ones that gave
No.
you guys the baby blankets?
No. Oh, no. Those were executives from Ham's Brewery. You still got that blanket?
I do.
Isn't that something?
My kids each came home with it, even though it was pink. They were wrapped in it.
Yeah.
I remember Jake coming home in it.
Chris gave hers to her dog, had babies on it.
Well, that was when they went to Colorado.
Like pink baby blanket.
Yeah,
They went to-
baby
I
blanket.
thought we had a pink and blue one.
Well, she did because they went to.
No, Mom
Colorado.
made a blue one later, but I
Yeah.
brought you both home in the pink one.
I definitely remember you in a pink blanket coming home.
They were the nicest
Today,
blankets.
left-handed.
Yeah, I still got them.
It's like one of my first memories.
But the reason Chris gave hers to the dog, the dog had puppies,
Right,
and she needed to keep them warm somehow.
right.
And then Tom made them go outside in freezing weather, and they all froze to death outside.
Chris's ex-husband,
Oh.
not Grandpa.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, whoa, what happened?
That was in
Right.
Breckenridge, Colorado.
Yeah.
I didn't know she lived in Colorado.
Chris's
Yeah, she was in
ex-husband
Breckenridge.
froze to death outside.
I'm trying to think of what else there. Then there
Oh my
was.
Was Grandpa